Okay, hi everyone. Tonight I have a strong urge to talk about some avant-garde stuff, so I'm here. Today I reminded myself about certain great release from this year and thought that I would have to talk about it on the internet for certain reason. But from the beginning, I'm pretty sure that vast majority of you knows Chinese dissonant black metal project Hoplites, the project which surpassed another threshold of popularity the previous year and became much more recognizable than it used to be. I mean, even with the release of the debut album it became a pretty popular project in underground, but after Paramainomena had been released, the popularity turned out to be literally beyond the scale. At certain point, numbers went from thousands to tens of thousands. And I think there is nothing strange about it, as Liu, the person who is responsible for this project, plays amazing music. In 2023 he released 3 albums for Hoplites, and the previous year the revolutionary banger in his music. But lots of people still doesn't seem to know that Liu has recently founded another project. And that is exactly what I want to talk about today. So I am presenting to you the first branch of Hoplites named Smiqra and its debut album entitled Rɡyaɡ. Yeah, my Chinese pronunciation is terrible. And unfortunately it's not as simple as Japanese pronunciation for a typical Pole, but the name of the album sounds so cool that I had to tell it. In this project Liu distracted himself a lot from dissonant black metal, and instead he put much bigger pressure on thrash and groove metal. And what is more important, at least for me, the level of avant-garde structures in this album has increased a lot. But it's not like Liu didn't put any black metal vibes in this release. I would say faster guitar parts have still a lot in common with black metal, but the atmosphere is definitely more thrashy, groovy and dissonant. And we can hear it at the beginning. But how about avant-garde? Well, even in the same track, but a little later. I was always saying that putting saxophone in your release doesn't make it immediately avant-garde, as saxophone became a really common instrument in metal, but the form in which it's served with those rapid guitars I can't even describe. I have never heard such combination of impro jazz with any kind of metal, and I think it's the biggest beauty of the whole album. It constantly shows us new things while still taking a lot from classic Hoplites sound. Like here, where sound isn't so powerful but the vibe still remains very similar to Hoplites, and we hear combination of saxophone and some metal pots, I would say. Some drum instruments for sure. But there are also some parts in this album where it gets closer to classic jazz. At the beginning it sounds pretty normal, but later it transforms into pretty glitched sound, I would say. Although it's definitely not the most glitched moment on this whole album, as there is one certain track with grind-like structure that stole my heart. It is 1 minute of pure entropic dissonant massacre with saxophone and drums. And it turned out, in my opinion, to be one of the most innovative things in Liu's music. Anyway, this album is definitely the most innovative thing in Liu's discography, even more than Paramainomena. Mostly because of breaking with that classic sound black metal sound and expanding on some newer structures, like kinda different drums and even more aggressive saxophone. And finally all the things I was mentioning form into great unusual release. The debut album of Smiqra is an absolute banger and it needs much more recognition. I didn't actually say about it anything, but Liu just told me that he would release another album but not for Hopefully Test in a few days. And there was just a notification on Bandcamp, but he didn't announce it on his Instagram, for example. I mean, I'm not sure, but I don't remember if he was marketing his latest release. I think if he did more, it would become much more popular release. You definitely shouldn't sleep on this one, and I'm strongly encouraging to listen to it in whole. But for now, thank you all for watching and see ya soon, hopefully.